Welcome to the Hop Edition podcast, brought to you in association with the Malt Miller, your go-to choice for premium homebrewing ingredients and equipment. Whether you're a beginner starting out or an experienced brewer, the Malt Miller has got you covered. So for top quality products and customer service, jump over to themaltmiller.co.uk and tell them the Hop Edition sent you. We would also like to thank all our Patreons for their continued support with running and developing the pod. If you would like to become a member and gain access to exclusive perks and benefits, head over to patreon.com/the Hop Edition. Now it's time to get this pod started, so crack open a homebrew and enjoy the episode. Good evening, everybody, and Happy New Year to you all. We're back with episode 131, the first one for 2026 for the Hop Edition. And today, or tonight even, we are going to be taking it back to base principles. We're looking at base malts, so the foundation of flavour in beers and what different types of base malts will bring, all that sort of stuff, and a little bit of the kind of technical detail on what actually differentiates different base malts from each other and what those different barley varieties may or may not bring to your brewing. So hopefully there'll be some interesting stuff to chat about in amongst that. We're also going to be drinking a couple of beers that I've sent to the other guys that we'll talk about in a minute. But before we get into that, we will thank our partner sponsor, as usual, the Malt Miller, your premier supplier of all things homebrew. While you're over there, don't forget to check out their dedicated Hop Edition recipe section, where you can find a range of beers that are featured on this very podcast, including some of our own personal creations, but also a whole range of recipes that have been taken from our guests, and there are some absolutely stunning brews in amongst those. At the moment, there's a few nice price reductions over there as well, particularly for hop pellets, which I think have actually just recently had a sort of permanent price reduction added to them. So go over there and check out the new pricing on hops, which isn't actually a short-term sale. I think they've sort of permanently decided to lower the hop pricing. So you can get some even better value.
I was gutted they didn't cut the leaf hops as well, because I'm all about the leaf at the minute with the tricky.
Right. Funny you should say that. I was actually looking on there the other day thinking, I want to do, I've got this idea in my head to do a sort of, all English kind of lager, and I was thinking, if I do that with some challenge hops, I quite fancy going like,
leaf
leaf hops, getting some all leaf sort of Challenger and maybe some EKG.
I've got some of that actually.
And I was looking at them on there.
The special camera kit comes with some sandals and some socks as well.
Nice.
And a dimpled glass as well. Yeah. Nice.
But yeah, anyway, so apparently not for leaf hops, but some good prices on the pellets over there. So yeah, we will get into the base malts as soon as possible. But first, these two fine gentlemen, and actually a few other people have tried this beer beforehand already. Have already submitted some scores, because I sent it out to a few people before Christmas. We were supposed to be tasting this a few weeks ago, but we didn't get round to it for some personal reasons of mine that I wasn't able to do that pod. So it's a little bit later than intended, but I don't think it's done this beer any harm. It's had a little bit more lagering time. So just remembering that I'm not saying what the actual hop is just yet, because the fun part about this is that you guys are kind of drinking it blind, so you've got no idea what it is. But just to give you a little bit of context, this is basically a German Pilsner recipe I've sent to the guys, and without wanting to reveal too much, it's a hop that you would probably think is probably more geared towards perhaps that sort of style of beer, maybe.
I was thinking, Tricky, it's kind of like it's almost like you've taken something like Saz or Tettnang, and you've went and planted it somewhere else,
Interesting.
Right?
I'll not. Yeah, I'll say no more. But yeah, yeah, I'm not gonna say any more because I might reveal too much there. But yeah, just a little bit more context on the recipe. So you've got a 5. Is it 5%? Oh, I can't. Where's all my
5%, yeah, 38.
Let's say 5%.
IBUs.
Yeah, 5%, 38 IBUs. So it's
It's crispy.
yeah, sort of crispy German pilsner. Speaking of base malts, we've got some of the absolute gold standard of base malts for lagers, the Vehemen floor malted pilsner in there. But I have cut it a little bit with Dingerman, so it's about 2/3 floor malted pilsner and 1/3 Dingerman's, just a dash of dextrin malt in there, and that's it.
Nice.
And then it was a 100-gram bag of the hops, and it's all the one hop all the way through, obviously. Just one thing to bear in mind with this when you're scoring it as well, obviously, hopping rate wise, it's just 100 grams in total, but it's also not dry hops. So this beer only has
This is all boil, or is it Whirlpool as well?
well,
No,
half of
flame
it,
out.
50 grams in at Whirlpool, and
Okay.
then the other half is during the boil. So first work 10 grams, 20 grams at 30, 20 grams at 10, and then 50 grams in the Whirlpool. So
It's
that's
our
what,
classic
that's what you're
Whirlpool it.
drinking.
Yeah.
Say again, sorry.
Did you actually whirlpool it?
I did do 20 minutes rather than just going straight to chilling
Cooling.
with that. So I
Okay.
did give it a proper
Yeah.
Whirlpool.
Yeah, it's definitely hoppy, isn't it? Like, if someone was to say that normally just drinks lager, they would go, "Oh, that's quite hoppy."
Yeah.
You know, and there's a great aroma off it as well.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
really pleased with the amount of sort of hop presence that it's got, given that it's relatively modest sort of hopping rate, and it's not dry hopped at all. So
Is it a 23 litre batch?
yes,
Cool.
yeah, it is. Yeah, 23 liters. So yeah,
Wow.
you guys have got your score sheets to sort of go through on this. But yeah,
Done.
and you've put the numbers in already.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just stuck for a third word.
Okay.
I'm struggling a little bit on the third word.
I always worry about putting out like a country sort of thing, but you know,
Just gonna go with that.
and I don't want to influence Owen either before he
No,
finishes his
right,
form.
I'm done.
Okay. Cool. So now that you've got your scores in, it doesn't really matter if you do influence each other. What are your sort of thoughts or first impressions on it?
Yeah.
I definitely with Andy. There's definitely like noble hop character to it. It kind of reminds me a bit of a kind of Hersbrucker. It's got like Hallertau vibes.
Berry.
Yeah, it's kind of got like, but I'm picking up a little mint note. I don't know, or like a sort of herbaceous note to it that I can't quite pin down. Almost like what I pick up from Sabro or the other one,
Talus.
Talus. Sometimes,
Okay. Yeah. So some sort of like slightly woody, herbal.
yeah, it's more leafy than that.
Okay.
Like a
'Cause I was
distinct kind of
thinking-
floral herb vibe.
Yeah. I was thinking terroir was maybe New Zealand, but I'm just like, is it or is it? Am I totally wrong there? You know, are you getting that lime?
And if you were, any
Yeah,
fruity
nah.
flavors in it for you guys at all?
Oh, it's that's
No.
the No.
Other than berry, I think berry was about the only vibe that I got. I wasn't really picking up any citrus or any tropical, personally. But it's really nice.
I mean, I think it definitely works as a hop in this sort of pilsner kind of style. It's
Yeah,
it's got some
absolutely.
of the flavor profile to make that work.
Slovenian.
Country, what would you go with?
I was thinking New Zealand or Australia or something like that, kind of
Okay.
New World, but
I mean,
Owen seems to think not.
I think Owen's more keyed in with the
if I
noble
just had
thing,
to
isn't he?
like, if I just had to guess, I would just
It's
say something
American.
like Germany. But the thing is, I know it's not going to be German, so therefore I'm inclined to go. It's got to be some quirky hop from
Oh,
the US or something. I don't know.
Don't twist, Owen. Don't twist.
I know, but it's kind of like, are you just bluffing or double bluffing? I don't know which way to go. I'm just gonna say Germany.
I wonder if it's like one of these sort of. It is like a grown in like Europe, and then it's just a new hop that's grown in
Maybe,
Europe to give
maybe.
the.
Or is it a Slovenian hop?
Well, Owen's right. It is German. So,
Wow.
I won't get you to try and guess what it is because it's a little bit of an obscure one. I mean, I hadn't really heard of it before this myself.
Let's go.
But if you want to have a guess, you can have a
Google.
guess.
I'm gonna Google.
Is it got a code number or is it actual?
No,
name?
it's named. It's named. It's pretty new, but it's not. Yeah, it's old enough to be named, basically. So,
Taurus.
no. Does begin with a T though.
Does it?
Tango.
Interesting.
Tango,
No?
yes, tango hops.
Oh, okay.
Oh wow.
So,
Interesting.
Oh, that's so cool.
now I kind of read the description of this, and I sort of said when I was doing my little bit of video recording, doing the tasting before, that I was like, I kind of get a certain flavor profile of it, but I think I'm maybe being led by the description that I've already read. So it's quite interesting when you guys are tasting it blind that you've not really sort of pulled out any of the stuff that's on the descriptors for it. And I know that actually with a lot of the German hops where they sort of say it's going to have all these big fruity flavors,
But is it
then
great?
it doesn't necessarily come through. However, one thing I would say is the first one on the descriptor is lemon. And
Lemon.
did you say who said SARS? Somebody said something about SARS.
Yeah, me.
So I mean, lemony SARS sort of flavour. I
Yeah,
guess
that's
there's
true,
maybe that there.
yeah.
Although, I know you didn't specifically say citrus.
Yep.
When it then goes on to passion fruit, I mean, I definitely didn't get any sort of like passion fruit flavour from it. Apple
tropical,
resin. I did
but-
find that there was a little bit maybe of a sort of piney note to it.
Pine.
And
I'll
it
get
does
0.
say grapefruit at the end as well. Now, the grapefruit reference is probably down to it being a related to Cascade. So it's got Cascade and Hallertau breeding, basically. So you were
Wow.
bang on with the Hallertau noble element, Owen. But it does
Yeah,
have some
it's
US
that
heritage
floral
in there.
thing.
So it's that slightly like not quite sure
That's
where
how
to
I put
place
it,
it,
yeah.
kind of like florally, slightly fruity, but not really, distinct flavour. I think that was coming through from that.
I tell you what I get on the aroma. If you just sort of smell it, it almost smells a bit like saison.
Oh,
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's like you're almost getting that black pepper and that.
Yeah,
I'm picking up lemon. Now you've said
slightly
lemon.
Well done.
spicy.
Even though before I was like, I'm not getting.
I'm like,
any
where have I
citrus on
smelt this before? I was like,
Yeah.
there's something familiar about this.
Yeah, that's
And
one
it
of those
does-
where now you've said that,
Oh, it's
can't
like
smell anything else.
very-
it's like
it's very
slightly
misleading, isn't
peppery
it?
kind of lemon peel sort of thing going on now. But,
So funny.
But yeah, so I mean, I really like it. I mean, I don't. It's one of those where
Yeah.
it's like I don't think it's like some of the English hops where they're kind of, sold as a massive fruit bomb, and you kind of taste it and go, bit disappointing. But if you put it in the
right.
put
This
it in
is
the
the
beer
right-
that it's suited to, and just give it to somebody, they'll go, oh, that's got really nice flavor profile to it. So, yeah,
Especially with a name like Tango, right? It conjures up the
Yeah.
idea of something like really.
You've been
juicy,
tangled.
especially in the
yeah.
UK. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
got totally different
And I dare
connotations
say
for us,
quite a
hasn't
few
it?
people. I'm sure I've even got some in the freezer actually.
You've got
And I've
tango.
kind of looked at it, going, "Oh, that sounds like good for an IPA." Whether it would or not,
Saison.
Yeah, maybe
Get it in
not.
a saison, and it would be absolutely banging.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right. Saison or anything with that
But
slightly spicy kind of vibe
hats
would
off
be
to you,
nice.
Trekkie. I think
Oh.
you've selected an excellent hop for a lager.
I love the colour. It's so. It's like on camera. I don't think folks can see how, but it's so pale. It's like
It is super pale.
look at
Yeah,
that.
it's,
That's it there. It
Bright
is
as a button as well.
bright and super straw.
Well, the floor malted Bohemian Pills, if you don't really add anything else darker to it, is a really light malt, which is slightly
Right,
surprising
okay.
when you think of it. It's quite rich in flavour, but it's actually a very, very pale colour, I think, on it.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, something to come back to. But anyway, yeah. So we'll leave it there because I didn't want to stretch this bit out for too long. But appreciate your feedback. Although
do we
actually,
get to see the,
I was going to
the
say
results?
I forgot to look at the results there.
Yeah, that'd be good. We'll wrap up there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the flavour wheel is looking a little bit underwhelming, shall we say? So it maybe doesn't reflect quite as well
White wine.
on how it tastes. But
Yeah.
oh shit, I've forgotten where everything is on here. Where's the share button? There it is. Bear with me. Get this up in a
Hold
minute.
the line cooler.
Right, there we go. That's the one we want. And yeah, it's not really kind of
Can you
honing
zoom
in
in?
on.
Go, I'm joking.
Berry.
I kind of
Yeah.
need to, don't I? You did mention Hersbrucker as well, didn't you? And a little bit of berry,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Where's my zoom control on this?
I don't know if that was just that kind of halotale thing, just sort of leading me, like leading my
Oh, I don't want to zoom in too much because then we can't
Kind of
see what the
mental,
Hersbrucker.
what the words
Yeah,
are.
my mental
Hersbrucker's super
catalogue.
berry in it.
Yeah, mental catalogue of hop sort of aromas and characters.
Yeah.
and sort of like
I
I
say
was quite like that halotale.
So quite a lot of herbal, quite a lot of floral. I mean, to be honest, the most like strongly scored flavors would indicate noble hops, really, wouldn't they? With
Yeah.
just a sort of hint of some fruitiness in there. And to be honest, if you look at the actual it's a Bath Hass hop, by the way. If you look at their actual website, their own flavor wheel, they've sort of pumped up slightly the fruit and sort of citrus scores on it, but they're all still sort of middling kind of scores, and everything. It's not it's not particularly like strong in any one area as such. So
Well, it is definitely more fruity than your standard. Say you brew a
yeah, no,
Hersbrucker.
it's
like
it's,
it is way
it's
more
fruitier
fruity.
than a typical
as I say.
noble hop.
It's definitely
But,
hoppy.
but you're not going to go, oh, that's like,
Oh, it's not. But compare it to an ale, definitely not. But
yeah.
it's not
or-
it's not going to be like a Nelson or a Mosaic.
Yeah, it's not
You
that
imagine what
level
beer
of
would be
potency,
like
is
as
it?
you use Nelson instead. Be like a
Well, yeah,
totally-
I mean
totally different beer,
the
wouldn't
actual the hopping rate on that actually, apart from not having a dry hop, is pretty similar to what I would do with my New Zealand Pilsner, and that's like absolutely banging, Nelson smack you in the face kind of flavour with that kind of hop. So
it? Yeah, and you'd be rating that like way up on tropical
100%,
citrus.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
So it's another one of those for me where it's like it's a really nice hop, but don't buy it on the basis of how they kind of describe it.
no.
Maybe buy it
Yeah,
as a
Tango.
slightly more interesting kind of like hop to put into
saisons.
your German style beers or European beers like saisons and things like that. I mean, like, I think it would be really nice in like golden ales, to be fair, as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
For your UK styles and stuff like that, or blonde ales, that kind of thing.
I think that maybe it has some credence in kind of being more those, structuring hops,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
foundationary hop. I think that would be an excellent choice. I think that might help your top note hops to really shine.
it's a high note, isn't it? So it could, like, I would say something like Styrian Goldens with it, and that, and yeah, it could be in a golden ale.
Yeah. Cool. Anyway, so yeah, thanks for your input on that, and there'll probably be a follow-up video if I ever get round to editing it on my channel for that at some point. But should we dig into the base malts?
Let's do that. Let's
Yeah.
do that. Have we decided when we're going to do the other hop tester beer? Or are we just going to kind of call it on the way through?
I guess when we all feel like we're ready for another beer, maybe. Or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing that's probably going to be in about 10 minutes. Though.
I'm just
have you got a filler beer for in between then?
Yeah, I'm
maybe?
gonna get
Just
some
to space
Nelson,
it
I
out a
think.
bit.
I do, but it's probably going to be an 8% dipper. So
Oh, okay. Crikey.
I'll just
Owen and his
I've got a
dippers.
glass of water. It's fine.
Cup of
So
Yeah, that might slightly overwhelm the next beer if you
it
go
might.
that
That's
between.
my concern, mate. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I've got an impy and a double IPA, and that's basically all I've got. As you can tell, I'm definitely not doing dry January. So we're talking
dry hop.
about base malts. Now we've probably covered a lot of conversation about malts in various past episodes. There's kind of no harm in sort of revisiting some of these subjects as the years go by, as all of our knowledge grows. But the aim for this evening is to really focus in depth into base malts and the importance of base malts to creating a quality beer, and really a bit of the kind of in-depth background, all the different types of base malts that you could use, how you can use those different base malts, what are they likely to bring to your beer. And I think the three of us were talking about, particularly for people that are newer into the hobby, quite overwhelming, actually. I think all elements actually are home brewing in terms of selecting ingredients can be quite overwhelming. But when you just get into base malts, it's like there's so many different options. And it's not just about, your Marisottas and your Munichs, but it's also about all the different maltsters that make Marisotta, and how do they all differ, and we might try and get into a little bit of that as well, and what you might expect from different maltsters. So that should be quite good fun.
Yeah, and even we are still on that journey as brewers.
For sure.
Like, try to discover different malts. So yeah.
I think it's great just to sort of be a part of a community where you can use that hive mind to learn from one another about what different base malts bring. I think the three of us kind of racked our brains about what are all the base malts that we've used over the course of our homebrewing, which I've got no doubt is quite a long list, but it's also not something you tend to log to memory. Personally, I don't go, I remember that really nice sack of Munton's Marisotta that I bought in 2001. You just kind of base malts sometimes, isn't it?
I found, Owen, when we've done, like, say we've done like a community brew along or something like that, and we share the beers, then that's when I'm like, holy shit, that is totally different. Like, why is that so different tasting? And it's because we've used different base malts. Like, malts, different maltsters or something.
I mean,
you mean like when it turns out somebody's thrown floor malted into a lager recipe that they weren't supposed to? I was like, why is your beer so much nicer than all of ours?
Yeah, I mean, who would have done that? Who would have
Can't
done
think
that?
who that was, but yeah.
What a douchebag. Can't get the stuff. There's always one. Like the person that
but that was cool.
Simcoe,
but no. It's a boil edition. Who thought adding Simcoe at 60 minutes would make such a big difference?
Who would think? Yeah, we definitely discovered the answer to that, actually.
Oh, we did.
Which was good.
It's all a learning process. Isn't it?
Yeah, it is for sure. And it's interesting, actually, the point you made, Andy, is after water, the next biggest contribution, kind of by volume, is your base malt, isn't it? So it's going to have a really fundamental impact to how the beer presents, no matter what additional adjuncts and other malts and hops and yeast that you add. It's going to be very material. So I think whilst it's kind of back to basics, we're going to try and explore that a bit more and kind of get into it a bit. So let's start at the high level.
Yep.
And we're just going to talk a bit about, like, well, what is the core role of base malts? So, like, why do we ultimately use them? And it's kind of, and we hear this kind of talk about base malt. Well, what really is it? It's essentially the majority malt that you're using, and typically it's where most of the extract of sugar is coming from to make up the wort. So it's the bulk of the grist, right? And it's also bringing a majority of the enzymatic, or the enzymes for the enzymatic activity. So that's something that's described as diastatic power. Every malt has a measurement of diastatic power, and that essentially represents how well it can convert the starches to sugars. So it's something that actually, if for any brew father users, it tends to show up when you're putting together a grist, and it will kind of tell you as to whether or not you have a sufficient or insufficient diastatic power in the grist. And if you were to have an insufficient amount of enzymes, it's a case that you may struggle to kind of achieve your efficiency in effect, right? So you may end up having to mash for a very long time, or it may just never actually really convert enough starch to sugar to meet your specifications. So it's that's kind of an interesting element of base malt. We'll probably talk a bit more about that. And I think that's pretty much it, isn't it, in terms of the kind of core role of base malt. I guess we will get into the subject of sort of flavour and all of that good stuff, but really it's just there to provide the bulk.
Sugar, it's like
sugar.
Yeah.
So I've done enough talking. I'm going to hand over one of you two to take us on. Take
Andy.
on the baton. And talk about the next section.
So what's... I'm just... are you wanting to go into variety and
you're
terroir?
into variety and terroir.
Yeah,
What
so,
was that?
okay, so I have been reading about this. So, basically, you've got two types. You've got your winter barley, which is planted... Is it autumn? I can't remember now.
Autumn time, yeah.
And then you've got your spring barley, which... So, it's... Winter barley's planted autumn, and then it's harvested kind of earlier in the summer. And then your winter barley, which gives it a longer period of time to mature. You tend to get better sort of extract from it. You get more tonnage out of it. And then your spring barley is planted in spring, obviously, and then it's harvested kind of late summer, kind of into autumn, I believe. And then you don't get as much output from it. But what the advantages of... I don't think you need as much... Is it like... What is it they put in the fields? Like nutrients and stuff like that. So it can flourish that way. Whereas winter barley, I think you need to put down quite a lot of nutrients into the soil. And then the other differences is, I think winter barley has a higher protein content, if I think that's right. And then spring barley, or is it the other way around? Is it winter has the... No, that's it. Is it? Sorry, guys. This is what was kerfuffling me.
I'd jump in if I knew the answer.
Winter barley tends to have
I did look
lower
this up.
protein level, which is better for brewing. Whereas spring barley is preferred for distilling. It has a higher protein level.
There you go. So springs get the higher protein, winters get the lower protein.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Yep.
I think
So
yeah.
what that means is for ales, it gives you the higher protein gives you a bigger, nice, thicker, foamy head sort of thing. So you get good foam. The other thing is, I think spring barley is actually cheaper to produce and to grow as well.
I think you get a
Lower costs.
higher per ton of malt. So I
In
think
winter.
spring barley is generally preferred for brewing. I think broadly speaking, I think winter barley tends to be used more into macro brewing.
Yes.
Partly as it's more
Flavour.
I think what they're able to do is to blend it So macro breweries will like that because they're able to get a very consistent output. But it tends to not necessarily be quite as kind of, dare I say, flavourful.
Correct, yeah.
Something along those
So
lines.
you get more nutty sort of flavours from winter barley. Yeah. Yeah.
They just switched off.
No. I'm just trying, just
Thought.
pause for thought. Yeah.
I thought you just
The-
powered down.
Basically, a good point. One to point out is like what your typical kind of winter barleys is. So, I think Maris Otter's probably a good one, and your spring varieties is like Planet, Diablo, Laureate, and I think Golden Promise as well. Is another spring variety as well. So, yeah. Craft is another winter variety on top of Maris Otter. So these are sort of names that we probably don't see as much. I mean, Maris and Golden Promise are probably ones that we would recognise. But I think the rest, when they just say pale malt, you'll probably find it's one of the kind of main, like Planet, Diablo, or whatever sort of thing.
Yeah, so it seems like generally speaking, where it's a sort of named variety is the brand that's being used for the malt itself. Sort of regardless of the malts, that tends to be those
varieties.
more heritage varieties, doesn't it? Whereas the more modern ones, I mean, most people won't necessarily have bought a bag of Planet or Laureate or what were the other ones you mentioned? Diablo, was it?
Diablo, yeah.
I think there's quite a lot of different varieties, but they're not necessarily sold by name because, as I understand it, they'd generally be put into generic pale malt, or even UK lager malt sort of varieties, depending on how they're kilned as well. But essentially, those are all sort of generic, malt varieties that it's not as important what the name of the variety is because they're all sort of brewed to a fairly standardized kind of spec. Whereas you're buying your Maris Otter because it's a heritage variety which has a particular character to it.
Yeah, it's like Chevalier is the other one, isn't it? That was like prior to Maris, I think.
Yeah,
bred
and
Maris
that's
from
one
Chevalier.
that they brought back from even earlier for that
Yeah,
same sort of reason.
and it was all about flavour because the problem that's happened is there was a chase for extract on your base malt, mainly because of your macro breweries wanting the maximum extract, and then that's then driven that sort of drive towards sugars rather than flavour.
Yeah.
So the craft sort of movements now started to move it back towards getting more flavour, but then obviously not as much tonnage.
Exactly that. And obviously you'll have
Extract.
your traditional sort of breweries as well that will have stuck with their heritage varieties that they've always used. So, you're probably looking at people like I don't know, Timothy Taylor's an example who would be using Golden Promise.
Which was a distilling malt originally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because who was the famous one that actually used to use Golden Promise in distilling, and then they moved it away from it, and then actually realised, no, we need to go back because the base malt was bringing so much flavour.
Yeah.
So
But so obviously that you see these newer varieties which are beneficial for the farmers as well because they're presumably bred for maximum yield and
disease
efficiency and all the rest
resistance
of it.
as well.
Resistance, yeah.
Disease is a big problem.
It's a big thing about them actually staying upright as well, isn't it? I think they said a lot of the
because
heritage
it can,
varieties
like,
will kind of flop over
think
in the wind or whatever it is.
I think the photo
Or
I
if they
put
get
up
wet.
tricky on
Yeah.
the actual advertising this, I think all the stems were all
They're all
just
buckled
bent
over.
over. Yeah.
Must have been a
Good
heritage
craft ones.
variety, yeah.
Yeah. Because that's what, when we had Crafty Maltsters on and they were harvesting that, was it the 6 row or some sort of heritage variety, and he says it was an absolute nightmare trying to put it through the combine because
Yes.
it was all just keeling over.
Yeah. So you've got those two kind of competing, elements there. Of the farmers want it to be easy to use, and brewers to an extent obviously want it to be higher yielding as well. And then you've got on the flip side they want more flavour, better flavour, which isn't necessarily coming from the same thing. So that's basically why we've still got your heritage varieties kind of hanging around, whilst there's still on paper better options from these more modern varieties, which tend to become your generic pale malts, I guess.
Do you see Brett and Thomas are both shouting about nitrogen in the comments as well?
Yeah.
Nitrogen is mainly available early in the summer, Thomas says.
So what? Does one variety have more or need more? Because nitrogen is obviously a growing nutrient, isn't it, as well? So that would be a big part of your fertilizer and stuff that's going in. And Thomas has said nitrogen is mainly available early in the summer. So putting two and two together there, winter barley possibly would be requiring more nitrogen in the form of additional fertilizer and stuff. So that might be more.
So there's one of our notes says protein nitrogen content. Winter barley tends to have lower protein, better for brewing. Spring barley is often higher, good for distilling.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but it does affect mouthfeel and head retention in the final beer, basically, however it goes, sort of thing, between the two. So yeah.
So we talk a bit about places in the UK that are particularly famous for growing great barley, and that's typically in East Anglia, and Northumbria. And some would argue that actually that does have a final effect to the malt flavour. But we are, a nation of great growers of barley, so we're kind of fortunate. You wonder if that has an impact to, the reason why there's a lot of people, a rich brewing history in the country, and also a thriving homebrewing interest as well. So it's one to discuss at another time, I'm sure.
It was a good point, because was it the Crafty Maltsters in Scotland? It's Fife is the bread basket, so that's where up there they tend to grow a lot of malt, whereas other areas maybe aren't so kind of good for growing. But I think Bagley did a video recently, and he was speaking to one of the farmers, and they actually managed to, it was like scrubland or something, or woodland, old scrubland, and they managed to actually, with modern farming techniques, actually, since World War II, where it was maybe, it wasn't great for farming, it is now because of the modern techniques we have for basically getting nutrients into the soil. So, but then the tonnage isn't as high as like the areas you mentioned there, Owen. Like,
some places used to be naturally better suited to growing a particular crop. But yeah, I think there's lots of ways in which they're now able to grow it in places it perhaps shouldn't be growing naturally, which is kind of interesting. So have we covered, I think, kind of variety to an extent, and a bit about kind of where it's grown, and I think we wanted to sort of
I think so.
Move on and talk a bit about how to read malt analysis sheets. So if anyone has ever really nerded out and decided to kind of look at specific malt analysis sheets, which tend to come typically with different maltsters output, but they can even sort of change kind of batch to batch, so to speak. There's lots of interesting kind of metrics in there, which when initially you look at them is quite confusing, because there's a lot of acronyms in there. So we just thought we'd kind of try and break some of that down for people, so they can kind of better understand if you are going to have a look at an analysis sheet. So there's a one acronym in there, HWE, which stands for hot water extract. So this is ultimately a measure of the yield that you're likely to get from that specific variety.
Yep. Which is, I would say, owns like when you plug that into Brewfather or Beersmith or whatever with that malt, they should have those specs roughly what that will produce, won't they?
Yeah,
and
and that's
that
why
way,
when you go on Brewfather, it is like there's different maltsters, and they'll have, and I imagine there is some variation, as I said, back
because
to batch,
the harvest and all that sort of thing, won't
yeah.
there?
So if you want to be super specific, I'm sure there's probably those measures in Brewfather that you could actually start to change relative to the actual brew spec sheet.
I think that would equate to the gravity potential in Brewfather, which would be your PPG, which is actually a kind of Americanized version of what is actually used in like the UK and Europe anyway. So I think that was something I didn't realize until I did the video on brew house efficiency and all the rest of it, was that actually the numbers that are used for that sort of calculation are different for the UK. So, and I've forgotten already what the actual
HWE
units are. I'm not sure if it is HW. I think it was something else.
There might be another.
It was just another thing that would have been derived from that like base unit to produce whatever.
And I have tried to read up on exactly how they calculate that, and how they measure it. There is a standard way in which they do that. It starts to get pretty complicated, so we're not going to dive into that. I think it's quite hard to manually work out what you would expect to be getting out of it, in terms of reverse engineering it to a recipe. Thankfully, we've got recipes and generators and
it's litre degrees per kilo, by the way, was the unit I was looking for, rather than PPG, because that's PPG is points per gallon, I think.
Points
something
per gallon.
Like that. Gravity points per gallon.
Yeah, nice. So the next thing is EBC and Lovibond, which we're pretty
familiar,
typically used to. It's kind of basically what is going to be your colour scale.
Yeah.
There's a measure on friability, so this is typically how well the malt crumbles. So it's important from a milling efficiency perspective. It's all about ultimately the kind of density of liquid still in the husk, because obviously it needs to be dried initially and then kilned.
Have you guys noticed that? So talking about and like friability between different malts, how it malts. Yeah, it's like because there's definitely a different. I mean, barley and wheat, like how they crush is totally different. You have to sometimes change your mill if you're milling at home, but
always, yeah.
It's interesting just how, even just thinking about how friability could change, because do you need to adjust your malt basically? The mill, sorry, malt mill.
Change the mill, yeah. And I mean, it's interesting. I think the malt miller actually did an interesting video at one point or another, just around
it was the mesh,
kind of the size of barley kernels vary significantly. Well, I say significantly. In the grand scheme of things, no.
Golden Promise is way smaller. It's like way smaller, Golden Promise.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of when you're getting into the kind of level of milling that the malt miller get into.
Yeah,
they're having to constantly adjust the milling parameters to get the right outcome. And I went through this box that you can use that has various filters that you can kind of help to
your percentages,
calibrate,
isn't it?
as to whether you're getting the right outcome when you're milling. Super interesting. So you can start to screen. I think those were the only bits we really wanted to get into. That there is a lot more detail into malt analysis sheets. We don't want to spend too long kind of talking about this, broadly speaking, but nonetheless, if there's interest, perhaps we could dive into that in a separate episode at some point.
So that's just the malt then, Owen. Then the next step, isn't it, is kilning.
Yeah.
Which is then, this is where we were talking about crisp or muntins or, everyone has their own thing. Yeah, isn't it? So...
Well, I mean, I guess even before that, differences in the process for the actual malting between maltsters in terms of like how they steep and what sort of system they're using, because you can have like different types of systems being used for it. So when I went to Muntins, they had the sort of more modern one where it was kind of like long, for want of a better word, huge trays of flat stuff, and then they also had like barrel ones that would rotate to turn the stuff over.
Roast.
So yeah, I think
it's like coffee. They do coffee beans in drum roasters, don't they?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if the drums they had was for the malting or whether that was actually for kilning. I think that was for the malting. They had like drum malting things because you have to turn the malt over while it's sprouting or whatever, so it's all similar. It was a while ago when I did this.
The roots all get tangled, don't they?
Yeah,
sort of thing, and you don't want that. That's why you
maintain
rake
the
it
same moisture level on it and everything like that. So they're turning it constantly, and floor malting is literally doing that manually with a rake. So all of those things are going to play into it as well. But then, as we're alluding to, you get to the actual kilning stage when you can turn the same malt into a completely different. The same barley, probably at that point, into a completely different type of
low
malt
colour
product at the end.
Is it normal?
Because if it's super low kilned, it can be sold as a lager malt, or if it's super high kilned, and then obviously beyond that,
ale,
you can then do other processes to it and turn it into a crystal malt or yada yada. So anyway, we'll go into that in a little bit more.
But that's not base malts. That's other malts.
Yeah, we'll steer clear of crystal and all the rest of it. But for base malts, kilning wise, has anyone got the sort of details on that for what the differences are? It's on the sheet somewhere, isn't it? There's a hell of a lot of information on our notes tonight, guys. So bear with us while we're scrolling through.
Dive into it a little bit.
Stuff.
So I guess when we think about kilning, effectively, it's a crucial part of actually adding flavour to the malt. But it's all about trade-off, because the more you kill a malt, the less the more enzymes you essentially kill, right? The aim of trying to add additional flavour and also colour is the fact that you're promoting the Maillard reaction.
Yeah.
So Maillard development, which obviously adds a lot of that kind of colour and flavour. So
it's not fermentable, is it, Owen? It's not as fermentable.
It kind of starts to reduce.
Goes like this.
It's kind of fermentability, but also its ability to have effectively diastatic power, or indeed the amount of enzymes in there. So as you're kilning a malt, essentially it's drying it out. It's making the endosperm more accessible. It's breaking down the protein matrix inside the kernel. But essentially, like when you think about the spectrum of kilning for base malts, you're kind of starting at the very low end, which Tricky mentioned a second ago, which is typically your kind of Pilsner malts.
Mm-hmm.
Or in some cases, we also get the very kind of low colour pale malts, or low colour Marisotta.
So we want that for like super bright Nipas and all that sort of thing, don't we?
That's it. I think Muntins even do like a super low colour pale malt. And then as you start to get slightly hotter, so there's also a trade-off in terms of between the length of time at which you kill versus the heat, the level of heat that you add. So you get slightly hotter, you get into pale malt. Slightly longer, you get into pale ale malt. If you get hotter even, you get into Vienna. And then beyond that, I think it's into kind of Munich territory, and typically Munich is well known for like having an amazing flavour, but very low
Toast.
enzymatic activity or diastatic
Ready.
power. So it
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
actually, if you were to make a completely Munich
could.
only beer, it
You
wouldn't
probably
actually
could,
be able
but
to
yeah.
convert itself,
Yeah.
and you'll just end up with kind of relatively
Lower
unfermentable
ABV.
porridge.
I think it's
Or a lot of
more
malt.
maybe less of a problem nowadays than maybe it once was. I think the malts, the enzymatic power of the malt is so high to begin with that I think your Vienna and your Munichs, at least the lighter varieties of those, you can get away with doing 100%, sort of mash with those. You'd probably want to err on the side of a maybe a slightly longer mash just to be certain. I mean, I've never tried to do like a 100% dark Munich malt beer. But
It would just taste. You would know it'd just be
Don't
like.
get it.
It would just be. I don't know. I don't think you would enjoy that. It'd be a bit
so
of a
sweet.
slog.
yeah.
Yeah.
So chewy. Be
You would need to put
super
loads
chewy.
of bitterness to it, sort of thing, just to try and offset
yeah.
the sweetness, wouldn't
Can you do 100% Vienna? Base
Yeah.
malt? Could you
Oh,
do
yeah,
stuff
for
with
sure.
Vienna?
Yeah,
I
you
think
can.
could do
It's-
that.
Vienna to me is a pale ale malt, like a darker
Yeah,
pale ale
and well,
malt.
that's the thing, isn't it? The Vienna malt, really colour-wise, it's only about 7-8 EBC anyway, which
Yeah.
is the top end of
pale,
pale, like UK pale malt. So it's not. I don't think
million
it's
miles.
kiln.
It's not.
It's not kiln
don't
to the
pales
point where it's going to
6.
really suffer that much. Whereas Munich malt, the lighter ones are kind of 10 to 15 at the bottom, but
12,
often
yeah.
20.
Yeah, you
even
can go
for the
darker.
light
Yeah,
one.
it depends on the
And darker can
because
be
they do have
30. Does it go up to maybe like 30, 40, I think, for the darker ones? So, yeah, I think there's 'cause you got Munich 1, 2, and 3, right? So you can have
Yeah.
or dark Munich malt. Standard Munich malt. And then it's just, but then it's all the maltster, right? You have to then go and look at actually what that means for
Well,
that
yeah,
maltster.
exactly. We're
'Cause
talking about Munich
Crisps,
as if it's a
crisps could be totally different.
like a defined thing that every Munich malt is going to be the same. But like you say, the crisp one might be really.
I think the
decent
crisp one
diastatic
is
power,
UK.
and
It is a UK malt
Yeah.
that's then
a more
kiln
traditional
to
one
that.
might be less, so you'd struggle. So I
Yeah,
guess that's why you probably need to check the check the specs in that if you're in that situation,
than the European.
perhaps.
Yeah. Cool.
Nice. So yeah, I think it's all about kind of a bit of a trade-off, really, in terms of kind of maltiness flavour versus giving up enzymes when it comes to kilning. Pilsner generally is the king of being able to convert stuff. That's
Yeah.
gonna have the most enzymatic diastatic power.
There's downsides to the lower kilning rate as well, though, isn't there? I think with some of the precursors for DMS,
Yes. SMM.
SML. Yeah, well done
I'm
for
not
the
going to try and pronounce what that actually is, but
something sulfur at the beginning, maybe. I don't know.
yeah, sulfur,
Dimethyl sulfur?
methionine.
DMS, dimethyl sulfate.
And again,
none of us are scientists.
Again, I think
don't have the scientists anymore.
the traditional thinking is that's why you would boil
Cabbage.
a lager brew for longer to try and reduce the potential
Cabbage,
for your
seaweed
cabbagey
Sweet corn.
sweet corn.
Sweet
It's an
corn.
interesting one actually because traditionally everyone sort of says, "Oh
Cabbage.
yeah, DMS is a sweet corn flavor," but I've always
Yeah.
whenever I've detected what I believe to be DMS, I've always had it my perception of it is it's always been more of that cooked,
Cabbage.
overcooked sort of cabbagey kind
Yeah.
of sometimes almost like a like that sort of tomato stem kind of like vegetal
Green.
Yeah.
green like quite nasty sort of thing from that. I've very rarely actually got a really obvious like sweet corn DMS sort
Almost
of
like
aroma
if you
or
open
flavour
a
from
can
it.
of corn,
I wouldn't mind a can of corn.
Yeah,
though.
but
I like
maybe
sweet
more
corn.
It's not off-putting, but
maybe more a slightly off mushed up canned corn aroma perhaps is closer
Yeah.
to it, but
Yeah.
I just it's like when the sea goes out at Owen's house.
Yeah.
You get that
summer.
sort of stench. Yeah.
Yeah, when the river
Yeah.
when the river's at low tide and you've got seaweed and it's
Yeah.
it hums a bit down by the river. Yeah.
But the start of that point was, I think, again, with more modern malts, it's less of an issue. I think it's not something to be completely disregarded, but I don't think it's essential that you do 90-minute boils with anything that's got, lager malt or pilsner malt in it at all, really, nowadays.
No, I'd agree. A
it's-
vigorous 60-minute boil is
decent,
more than sufficient.
yeah, decent boil rate.
That's the problem, though, isn't it? Because these all-in-one systems where it's got this kind of crappy boil that's just like this sort of rubbishy
Simmer.
rolling boil, like
Yeah.
a simmer.
Yeah.
Because
you do have to be
they've
careful.
they've still got a 2.4 kilowatt element, but then it's like it's the 60 litre volume sort of thing, because they still want to plug it into the wall, sort of, with a standard UK socket. You need to watch when you've got a system like that. Then 90 minutes for a lager like that could be a good idea.
As I
Especially-
understand it, with the formation of DMS as well, is that it happens more in those sort of like lower temperatures just below the boil point. So yeah, a really weak boil is obviously going to put you in that danger area anyway. But I also
What
think
was
that
your
one
favourite system, Tricky? That
one,
was it grandfather did. What was it?
my favourite system.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that's how I described it on the review video, but yeah, is that, I can't even remember what the S40, wasn't it? It was the
Was it the
Yeah,
was the
S40?
S40. The bean can that they put out, but
Shit 40.
yeah, actually, well, funnily enough, actually, the
it's
boil
HLT.
rate on that was surprisingly decent, because
All right.
one of the good things about it was actually
was-
double skinned, and it had like a little bit of insulation integrated into the
Oh well.
the outside of it, so it had a surprisingly decent boil rate. But that was one
was
of the
the
few
temperature
things that I
control
liked
was the
about
problem,
it.
wasn't
The
it?
temperature control was absolute dog shit. But
Oh,
where was
Yeah,
I?
I think-
Where was I going with this? The
Yeah,
DMS.
that's been discontinued.
I think
anyway.
the point where you're kind of, and this is a little bit of me sort of basing it on a bit of my own experience, but I feel like the point where you're more vulnerable to it is when you're kind of doing those like lower temperature steps, maybe like your whirlpool and things like that, particularly if you stick a lid on the pot. So I think I've had a couple of times when I've
Right.
gone to like whirlpool and I thought, I'll put the lid on just to protect it. And I think that's the work, because I think you can actually
I
get
didn't
away
know
with like
this.
putting the lid on.
I put
Like
that,
actually
I
during the
think I do
boil, but
that.
I think that sometimes doing it when it's like getting into those really low sort of 70-80 degree points is possibly where it's more vulnerable. And that might be just talking complete shit, but I've had a couple of beers where I felt like it's been a little bit, I've had a bit of that flavor come through, and I feel like the common thing that I did was maybe going, I'll just put the lid on that because I'm going away for a bit and leaving it for a bit longer at like 70-80 degrees or something, and it maybe kind of going and condensing back into the beer. I don't know if that's
I'd agree.
based
Tricky.
on any kind of scientific
There you go. You've heard it here
reality,
first.
but well, I say that I think I've definitely read somewhere that it is more, the formation of it is worse when the
There's
temperature
my
comes
golden
down below
nugget
the
for
boil,
the evening.
which obviously makes sense, because that's why people would say to boil for longer to try and get rid of it, is because it's forming at the lower temperatures. So
I just equally is I don't think that there's necessarily that many styles of beer where you're going to be using lager malt and whirlpooling with a lid on. So
No.
I would agree. I think New Zealand Pilsner is a classic example where you might do that.
yeah,
I've had the same experience having put the lid on. And also I think there is an element of making sure that you cool work quickly
yes,
with
definitely.
lagers, and again to avoid the formation of SMM, which is the precursor to DMS, during fermentation. So yeah, should we move on? I know DMS is a very interesting.
Yeah, we
It's-
went
yeah.
down a DMS rabbit hole, but
we did. Yeah, it's
I
all
have
good.
I have experienced it from when I've been sent beers. I don't think I've had DMS in my own beers, but then the elements I've got, it's like a 3.2 kilowatt I use for when I do a small batch, and then it's a 5.4 kilowatt for the double batch stuff. So it's like flipping.
It's bouncing around a bit.
It's
then
bouncing, yeah.
I'm fortunate the fact that I've got it all in one system.
You've
but
got the
it has-
B80, which is
but it has
big.
two plugs, so it's running both elements independently.
Yep.
So you don't have the problem with trying to run everything through one cable and one plug.
Socket,
So you can still plug it into a standard UK plug.
Ah, right, okay. Is that how they get around it?
And you can actually control the amount of wattage.
Yep.
You
Yep, you
use.
can't. Yeah, from the PWM.
Yeah. So then you can adjust it if you need to. Which is
Sweet.
quite handy. All the little features you get if you just spend an enormous amount of money. Hashtag possibly.
Let's not go down the rabbit hole of all the new innovations coming out from Brutals in the next year.
That's not what we need to get into.
Yeah.
That's a different podcast. But
So
Yeah,
we've
we should get them
talked,
on.
we've talked a lot about kind of kilning and should we just talk a bit about the different types of base malts? We started to get into that a little bit, didn't we, with
Yeah.
the kilning,
Yeah.
but what actually are
also our
some of
own experience of it as well.
Yeah,
which I think
'cause
is probably
we-
something we need to bring in. So
yeah, what are the major base malts that?
Well,
that
should we
we're
look
going
at
to be-
lager malts first, I
Yeah.
suppose, and go down
We'll
the
work
kind
on the
of.
colour scheme.
are
Yeah.
you guys nearly ready to do the other hop test a bit? By the way,
Yeah,
'Cause
we can.
If,
we
Yeah.
can
we
I've
don't
actually cracked
don't have to do
already,
it
but-
right now, but if you guys start talking about the different types, and I'll just go and get a glass of that as well.
Oh my god.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do it. So should we start out with talking a bit about kind of your classic Pilsner malt? We're probably not necessarily going to we may get into later sort of different types of Pilsner malt from various different maltsters. But essentially, as we mentioned earlier, like this is going to be the lowest colour. It's typically going to be sort of what would you say? Probably like 2 to 4 EBC, something like that.
Super low colour. Yeah.
It's going to have high enzymatic activity, so you're not going to have any concerns about it converting all the desired starch to sugars. But the way I like to think about Pilsner is like it's a more delicate malt.
It's
which
can be
is-
quite grassy, like kind of. Is it grassy? Is the word?
Husky,
Owen.
husky
there's-
maybe sometimes. I think your lower quality Pilsner malt can present as a bit grainy or husky.
Grainy, yeah.
Whereas your high quality Pilsner malt will tend to bring
Honey.
like honey cracker type
Yeah,
vibes.
cracker bread.
So that delicateness is kind of desired, but it also comes with some warning labels in the fact that there's less places to hide. It's gonna showcase faults more easily, especially if you this is why lager brewing is considered to be more technically difficult, is because it's so clean, delicate, that faults are going to present themselves. So what typically we're going to be using Pilsner malts in your classic German, Czech Pilsners, Helles, New Zealand Pilsners, all
Yeah.
those good stuff.
So your kind of traditional brands for if you're wanting that is Vermin. Best Malts is the other one. I think Chris was using Best Malts. I think, did he not say he was really enjoying? He thought like after Vermin Bohemian Pills, I think he was really like, oh, Best Malts is really, really good. And then Crisp do obviously quite a few. Like they've obviously got the Hannah malt, which is the Pilsen variety, so which is kind of specific, isn't it? And then I suppose like there's a German Pilsner malt as well by Crisp that I've tried, but that's one of the ones I was like, it's got a distinctive taste. If you not had that on, You bought that?
I've had a sack of it. I've used it. I personally didn't pick that up. I actually quite enjoyed it.
Did you?
And it's quite a reasonably priced Pilsner malt. I would generally, as a point of advice to people, is to avoid lager malt. Always try to choose Pilsner malt over lager malt.
But the way I see lager malt is it's probably like a British ale malt or a British like Propino or like just Planet or something, but it's just lower kilned. And I think that's the best way to treat it is just if you're looking for a lower kiln sort of ale malt, then and it's just like a kind of base malt type, like just an ale malt type, then a lager malt could be quite good in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, you could almost get away with interchangeably using pale ale malt and Pilsner, but I think side by side you would notice a difference if you were to make the same lager. with the pale
Pilsner
malt
is like
versus
specific
Pilsner
varieties,
malt.
though, right? Isn't it? Rather
It
than
is
so-
specific varieties. It's kilned
So-
lower.
yeah,
Lager
Yeah,
malt typically
the
like,
variety's
it's going to
different.
be slightly more biscuity. It's going to be a little bit grassy. It might have a little bit of a grainy, husky vibe about it.
Green.
Yeah. So I think the gold standard for your Pilsner malts is going to be Weimar, and the
Yeah.
gold standard of Weimar is going to be your Bohemian Pilsner, floor malted Pilsner. Excellent malt, but quite expensive. The other Weimar malts, not necessarily the Bohemian floor malted, but are also very good.
I would like I want to try Barker Pils. I really have not tried it, and I'm desperate to try the Barker Pils to see the difference between that and the Bohemian Pils.
so that's again coming back to the sort of named malt varieties.
Yeah.
Barker is a German heritage variety, right, of Pilsner malt. I think.
right.
I think I've got that right, but that's why. Yeah, that's a sort of I guess the sort of Maris Otter of like German lager malts or whatever, or similar sort of thing. Yeah.
So if you were wanting to brew a Carlin clone, right, what would you recommend?
The cheapest, most generic like UK lager malt that you could find.
Brett suggests, how about Europils?
That's a crisp one, isn't it? Is that a crisp one? I think so. Yeah,
I think that would be a Carlin. That could be a
that would
perfect
be
candidate.
That would be
for...
a good shout for that one, I reckon.
What is that? Is that just going to be like a generic continental Pilsner malt?
I mean, if it's an actual Pilsner malt, it might be a little bit too good for a.
It's all based in cost, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think I think that's kind of like one of their cheapest sort of.
You were absolutely right, Tricky. Bark is a barley variety. It's a historic two-row barley heritage.
And it's also expensive. So
Yeah.
if a sack of Bohemian floor malted is £66, then Barker Pils sack is £60.
Yeah,
It's up there. It's up there.
So it's right there.
Yeah, very good. They do also just do a Bohemian Pilsner, so it's not floor malted, but which is slightly cheaper.
That's 58. So £58 for the Bohemian, just non-floor malted.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've pulled up our favourite sponsor, the Malt Miller.
Apparently, Crisp have had to I say have to. They have rebranded Europils as just lager malt.
Okay, cool.
Just lager malt now. So maybe Europils was suggesting that
it was a
might be
European variety.
something that it wasn't. And when we scroll down to the description, we see that yes, in fact, we take English spring barley with a slightly higher protein than our best ale malt. And basically, low temperature kilning process gives us lager malt.
There you go.
That's it.
So, but if you take that instead of going right, you want to do a super like light NEPA or something, then you could probably use the lager malt because
Oh,
when
yeah.
I went to Overtone, they had sacks of Simpsons lager malt, right, and that was their base malt for the Nipas. So
Yeah. I
and
mean, it's
that
not unheard of. Yeah.
that gives you that super bright sort of. You just need to treat it like rather than being like an ale malt or whatever. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, I think they are relatively interchangeable, particularly what's labelled as lager malt rather than pilsner malt. That is going to be quite interchangeable with pale ale malt, I think.
Because one of the things I was wanting to try is like a low colour Maris Otter, but is in a lager, right?
Yeah.
As mad as that sounds, but just to see
See how
how
it comes
much like that sort of more malty, sort of Hellas type lager you could make with it. So it's
Yeah.
got a more malty sort of thing, flavour to it.
I could imagine you're definitely going to get a much maltier backbone. I don't think it's necessarily going to be as
But I'm thinking you probably don't need to use
delicate and
any
sophisticated.
Say you're wanting to put Munich in it to get that breadiness, you don't need to do that. I think you could just go 100% low colour Maris, and then it would be like, this tastes like you've put Munich in it or something like that, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'd be
Interesting
interested
theory.
Interesting.
Yeah,
to
it's just
see the outcome.
Yeah, because I did one with the Crafty Maltsters malt and did a lager, and it tasted like it was brewed with Munich, like it had a percentage of Munich malt in it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It just tasted like a really malty lager. So
Yeah, good for certain styles of lager if that's what you're aiming for.
yeah.
Yeah, nice. So I guess the next one is going to be a Vienna malt, which is going to be slightly darker, slightly lower enzyme activity. It's gonna present kind of a toasty, kind of light biscuit honey kind of vibe. And I think it's going to be suitable to, unsurprisingly, your Vienna lagers, probably your Märzens, possibly going to be used in some sort of dark Czech lagers, in a variety of different beers, really. Like, you can even sort of brew some great sort of British style of beer and include Vienna. It's absolutely superb.
I think, as Andy was alluding to earlier, I think you can pretty much like
I think
use
Vienna
as interchangeably with your more
Ale
flavoursome ale
British.
malts. The colour wise, it's almost exactly the same as like some of your darker, so like Warminster, kind of like Maris Otter and stuff like that, is up at that sort of 6-7 is it SRM or EBC level, and
it'll just come down to terroir, literally. So then it'll just be like how British malts taste versus German malts or European, basically.
Yeah.
I
think I've actually used some of the Bark Vienna. I think I've used Bark Vienna and Bark Munich as well.
Lucky boy.
Which I've ended up with sort of 3-4 kilos of, and tend to use more as not necessarily as a base malt, but as an addition to the base malt. So,
of course, yeah.
It tends to be the secondary malt in the grist.
Was it? Can you remember? It was a Vienna lager or like a Märzen or something?
I've ended up using it in, actually. I think maybe I'd used some more recently into my dark Czech lager. I'd have to have a look through my recipes from memory.
Talking about dark Czech lagers,
wherever a recipe called for Munich, I'd just end up using that. Yeah. So in fact, no, I've just recently made a Schlenkerla tribute. So tried to clone a smoked lager and use Bark Vienna in that. So there's 1.3 kilos of Bark Vienna, which I still need to keg, and I tasted out of the tank the other day, and I'm gonna have to send you some because it was tasting legit.
So, I was just literally drinking there was my Märzen on, and it had I think it was only about 300 grams or something like that of smoked malt. And guess what? Zero smoked malt. You can't.
Really?
You just cannot taste. No, you can't
No,
taste smoked malt.
no. I mean,
Right, you need to.
Not
I
at all.
used-
Even
I
with
used
300 grams.
70%.
Nah.
What does that work out to? Like 5% of the grist or
Yeah,
something?
something like that. Yeah,
Pretty low.
3%, something
I mean,
like
that is pretty low, to be fair. I think,
It's gonna be in there. Like if you'd made it without it, you'd notice. If you went
Yeah,
side by
yeah,
side,
exactly.
it just melts in.
But yeah, I think it's more just a little bit.
to
of
be
a
fair,
flavour
I don't think
builder,
I've
innit?
ever. I mean, I've not done a huge amount of smoked beers at all, and it's been a long time since I've used it. But I think the lowest level that I went was about 15-20%, and it was like, ooh, got a little hint of smoky, nice
It was
subtle
a
smokiness
double
in
batch.
the background.
It was
But
a
it
double
wasn't.
batch, right? And it had 300 grams.
Oh,
so that's
well, that's
okay.
fuck
that's
all
three
then.
three
Yeah.
3.3%.
3%, yeah.
3.3%, right? So
That
it's
makes sense.
you need to way more to get.
Well,
Yeah.
I went
Lance
I
says,
went-
"Did Brett tell you to tone it down?" That's a bit
I
of an
was
in
Brett's
joke
fault.
there for certain people on a certain group chat. But
Tone it down.
Yeah.
Take it
Something
down.
like yeah.
careful,
Probably
that's
true,
really
Pete.
I think it was-
potent stuff.
I think the fear was put into us, to be fair, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I have a look at my Schenkela tribute, I used 4 kilos of
smoked.
Rausch malt, which
Yes.
is 70% of the grist, and it is like proper
Fantastic.
bacon rashers. No, it's
You need to
smoked
send us that
for
on.
sure.
100,
yeah.
please
I'll,
send
I'll
us.
send you out some as soon
I'll
as
get
it's been in
some,
the coke for a
yeah.
while. So the next thing we've got to talk about, and we've touched on already, is kind of Munich malt, or the kind of Munich 1 or classic Munich malt, light Munich malt. So you're gonna instantly, like, that additional kilning is gonna bring like a big step up in maltiness. It's gonna be like
Toast in it.
malty sweetness, yeah, bread crust vibes. So it's
Yeah.
going to be a crucial element in so many different beer styles, particularly German ones. So you might be adding it to a small amount to kind of beef
Helles.
up the flavour in Helles, or maybe less so Helles, but maybe the Pilsner. Or to a greater extent, you're going to be putting it into your
Meltzer.
Box and your Dunkels and your
Best
Amber
beers,
Lagers and
definitely as
Yeah.
well. You want a bit
all
of it
that
in there.
good stuff. But so I always think Vienna and Munich are just great to always have in the brewery,
Oh,
to think about how
I
it
think
might
like Munich
accentuate.
malt, aside from obviously the base malts, is probably the malt that I go through more than anything else.
yes.
Because I'll be
Yeah.
like, I'm doing a lager, oh, bit of Munich malt. I'm doing a pale ale, oh, bit of Munich malt. Like, I'm doing a West Coast, oh, bit of Munich malt.
Yeah, West
almost-
Coast. That
there's-
was the thing, wasn't it? It's like get rid of the caramel and let's
exactly
go.
that. And in quite a decent quantity as well. Like I'll do like a, I mean, like I've done an American pale ale recently, which is actually one of it's an old recipe from Fraser Withers, who's now Middle Child Brewing.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's like his sort of one of his many extremely well awarded recipes that he's done. But anyway, that is basically just all base malt and about like 10-15% of Munich. So it was kind of like the whole thing of the on that kind of like West Coast, modern West Coast thing of using Munich rather than crystal or caramel malt. I think he was sort of onto that quite early on. So
I did notice. I was
but anyway,
reading
it's
today.
you put
tricky.
like 700 grams of it into a pale ale and you end up going through it quite quickly. But is it similar in that Oregon Trail?
No, all right.
No?
So that was the thing I was
Has
going
that
to say.
still got
So
some
it's-
crystal in there?
caramel, yeah.
Yeah,
It's got
I mean,
rye
I'm-
and cara.
I'm not like 100% convinced by this sort of like you can't put crystal malt in it. It's going to start like oxidizing all the rest of it. I'm just,
Yeah,
there's plenty of beers that were using that for years and years and years that were great and are still great in some cases, and exemplars of the style. It's just maybe that slightly cleaner, crisper approach to the more modern version of it worked better without them. I think that's I'm not 100% convinced by this. Like,
was it Russian River? It was at the interview with Russian River.
Vin-
they were
Vinny-
talking. Vinny
Vinny
was talking.
Saluzzo,
Yeah, and
yeah, I think
Blind-
that, or at
Blind
least over
Pigs-
here, that first sort of became quite widespread
Yeah,
off
that's
the
what
back
got
of
it kicked.
that video.
But
And
Blind
that was a
Pig
craft beer
doesn't.
channel, wasn't it? Because they were
Yeah,
he
but-
was giving them advice on how to do their own
Yeah, where
version of
Westy.
it, and then it was like everyone was going, "Oh yeah, you can't use crystal malt anymore."
Yeah, but
Yeah, to be fair,
it'll
I
kill
think-
your
I
beer.
think-
Pale Wheat
I
and
think even
Dextrin.
Russian River have started to move away from using crystal malt.
But Blind Pig doesn't have it, so
But
Yeah.
I think that's possibly more of a reflection of just how beer styles have adapted and the tastes of the consumer have changed. I'm not necessarily sure that that's been driven as a result of brewers' preference or faults as a result of certain malts. I don't think that's been the driver. Personally, that's my opinion.
No,
What's Lance saying? He says he
Yeah,
finds
but
Munich
Lance was
adds a
talking about
tone of dryness.
Munich 2, which is obviously the next, ramp up in terms of kilning and going
Brings
back to
toast
the old
bread
West
vibes are off the
Coast.
chart. Yeah,
I've actually made a West Coast, more of an old school style West Coast, with just base malt and Munich 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually adds loads of amazing richness to the beer. Lance was saying about how you kind of get like real mega toast bread vibes off Munich 2, and I'm a big fan of using Munich 2, and it's kind of almost a case of like almost a bit of penny pinching the fact that you can also use less of Munich 2 than
Munich
Yeah.
one.
to use as much Munich 1.
Right, okay.
So you can be a bit frugal with it as well.
Because I went and bought off the back of recommendation was a crisp Munich malt because it had that more sort of sweetness to it rather than the sort of toasty breadiness that you get from the German malts basically. So it was like a kind of more of a type caramel malt but still base and clean was the idea. So yeah.
Should we do this beer quickly with the?
Have you got? You already opened.
Yeah, we can do, but I've only got that.
Oh
much
right.
left.
Well, did you score it though?
I have, yeah. I have.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. for sure.
Okay. Well, very quickly, just
Mine's
before
done.
Owen completely destroys the last trace of it. This is the second hop tester beer, which is a hazy pale ale. It's basically the Road to Sonoma recipe, but just I've basically taken all of the hops that would normally go into that out and put the hop in question into it. So it's a higher hopping rate than the previous beer, unsurprisingly, and it's I think it works out as a total of about 200 or maybe slightly more than that. Let me just check. It came out slightly higher than the original recipe spec at 4.1%
Just watch. I
ABV.
haven't done the notes.
It's supposed to be 3.8 originally, but I think slightly higher efficiency on this one. But anyway, the recipe for the Road to Sonoma is on my channel somewhere. Hopping wise, 270
Easy.
grams of hops actually in this one. So it's a little bit very late in the boil, 100 grams in Whirlpool and 140 gram dry hop on this one.
think it's Tango.
Brett completely misunderstood the mission and thought that I'd sent him 2 beers of different styles with the same hop, which kind of cocked up his scoring a little bit, I think. It's definitely not Tango, so I can give that away. But yeah, Road to Sonoma brewed with this mystery hop and Haze Heaven yeast, actually, which was slightly
Nice.
different to what I would normally
That explains a lot.
Yeah,
I think Haze
that
Heaven's
punches.
bringing a lot here.
That punches for sure.
Yeah, I
I've
can
just
smell
I just re-upped
stone
on
fruit.
my Haze Heaven stocks
Yeah,
today.
Haze Heaven's
actually.
good stuff, man. I do like it.
I think it's
I've got a
fantastic-
sachet of it. I've not used it yet.
That's my go-to
Is it?
hazy yeast now. Yeah, for sure.
Not
It's
saturated?
fantastic.
It's
blow off tube
it's
required.
proper active stuff as well. I went down to my sister's house after setting this beer. No, was it this beer? Anyway, at some point, no, it wasn't this beer. It was a beer that I did afterwards with Haze Heaven. But yeah, I went away and left it to do its thing. Came back and it had almost exploded completely out of the spunding valve. and sprayed itself all over the place. But it was like literally, I came back and the Krausen had gone all the way to the top of the fermenter.
You need a
and
blow off tube.
It had done a little bit of out of the spundy, but it didn't fully block it up. Luckily, otherwise it could have been much worse when I came back to it. So yeah. But anyway, so yeah, this beer, Andy, have you managed to get your scores in?
No, yeah.
Not quite yet. Not sure I can tell you much more about it without saying.
So did you say there was 270 grams?
There is 270 grams in it. Yeah.
Interesting. All right, that might change my opinion of what
It's quite a low strength beer.
Is it quite? Oh no,
That's me.
I'm not
Done.
going to ask for clues. I don't want to ruin it.
I'm not giving you any clues.
The aroma.
No clues.
How many grams did go into the dry hop?
Dry hop was 100. Did I just say 140? I want to say 140. I think it's 140 in the dry hop. Yeah, 140 in the dry hop.
Do you guys get? Did you get much off the aroma? I thought it's quite low.
I think the predominant aroma I got was peach, and I also got some coconut.
I said from the very beginning with this beer, like instantly, and it's slightly dropped a little bit, but the first time I smelled it, I was like, I got this really intense, like, peach ring sweets.
Peach
like,
rings,
I was like,
fuck,
it just smells like peach rings, and I can't smell anything else now.
Oh shit! Now you've said it.
I couldn't smell anything else.
Yeah,
I
wow.
think it's peach rings, and I got coconut. Almost like it reminded me of Talus and Sabro to
Like the
to
last
a
hop.
slightly lesser degree, which is exactly what I said about the last hop. Little bit of citrus, little bit.
Yeah.
Not a huge amount, but just like an undertone. And then you got like apricot kind of vibes. It's definitely more like stone fruit forward, I reckon.
Yeah. Andy, do you agree?
The stone fruit, but I think that's the yeast is bringing a lot here.
I think the yeast emphasises it, but I think there's definitely some hop,
like
contribution there as well.
it's so funny now. You boys have said peach rings, and it is just like.
Flavour-wise, though, do you think there's anything else there other than peach? Because the aroma, I think it's just all peach for me. But
no, that's pretty much all I picked up.
Yeah, I feel like there's a little bit
more.
more.
There's a bit of pink grapefruit, sort of peach pink grapefruit, sort of
slightly
like
more tangy on the flavour, isn't it? Rather,
yeah.
Okay, so obviously we've got the scores in. Any guesses for location?
I think I know which hop it is, but I don't know.
Interesting.
Do you think? No, is it? Is he got a crap load of crush or something? Do you reckon that he's?
Crush is
no
different.
Yeah,
I think
it's I think American, but
I think it's American. Yeah. Is it American?
Yeah,
I'm just checking actually because I was like I'm sure it's American, but I was like, is it American?
No, it's Charles Farham 302.
Yeah, it's an experimental hop from Charles Farham.
Yeah, Charles Farham. Yeah. I'm like, well done, boys.
So where do you guys think it's from?
Oh, America.
I think
America.
it's
Yeah,
America.
I'm pretty certain it's American.
Yeah.
Just double
Can I have a
checking
guess
that.
of what I think it is?
Luminosa.
Okay, go on then, Owen.
I think it's Dulcita. HBC 1019 to be specific.
It's not. It's a good guess, but no. Andy, any thoughts?
I said Crush, but it's
Right,
not
well, I'll give you a
Crush.
freebie. It's definitely not Crush. So have another guess.
Is it Luminosa?
No.
Superdelic?
No. See, I was interested in whether or not you guys would pick this out because I'll give you a big clue. It's that you've both brewed with it.
Really?
Yeah.
Shit. Oh no, it's a Laura.
It is the Laura.
Yeah, because the Laura was peach, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So you've managed to this is your Allura beer.
I've made quite a few beers
What
with
a
Laura
frickin'
recently,
hop.
and
I've really
Didn't
enjoyed
pick
my
that
Laura
up,
one.
actually. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Because it's definitely kind of yuzu, melon, none
Well,
of the
I was
things that I
just like,
mentioned.
yeah, I was looking at the
It is, isn't it?
at the description of it, and they do sort of put peach right up there as one of the first
Do
descriptors that they
they?
use for it.
Oh, okay.
But, and again, it might be because I'm like biased because I've read that and I know what the hop is, and I'd also tried your beers as well, which maybe expressed that flavour a bit more. But I was kind of like, yeah, it's massively peach, but still got a bit of you know, that sort of tangy,
Yuzu vibe.
yuzu sort of Asian fruit kind of thing going on in it. But you
I
know,
missed
that's the
that
thing.
completely.
The power of suggestion when you know what it is, I think, is a very
Well, I know.
strong guide to your palate. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is what really interests me when I do this. Like, give it to somebody completely blind,
Oh,
and
it's mad.
they might just completely not get the thing that I think is obvious, but I know what it's supposed to taste like. You know, so
Yeah.
what the variety is. So
You do get very led by the description, don't you? I think I was reading up on Dulcita hops today because I actually ordered some from the Malt because I was quite intrigued. That seems to be like the new hop on the block, right? So I'm like, well,
Has he got that?
I'm a sucker,
No.
so take my
He
money.
got half a kilo.
And so I think that maybe like as soon as I got like peach rings, I was like, oh, I read
Yeah.
that Dulcita is all about peach rings, so I think that must be it. And then obviously I was like completely locked on that, and all I could smell is peach rings. But I think like now sort of smelling back to it, it's like, no, actually
Yeah,
it
it's a
does have
lot
a
of-
bit of a yuzu vibe.
That's annoying because obviously I've just handed a keg of that as well.
but still, I
Do you
was
enjoy
I
it,
was
Tricky? How's it been for the enjoyment on the keg? Would you
yeah, no,
brew
it's
with
good.
it again?
Oh, 100%. I'd brew with it again. I think I'd like to put it with something else because I've literally only done this like single hop beer with it. So, I mean, I think
Idaho 7, I think.
Owen sent us a beer where it was mixed with something else, and it really sort of just gave it a little bit more of a top, top note of something a little bit brighter. I think, but I think it's good enough to stand on its own as a single hop.
Because it's got that, is it rose sort of thing, isn't it? What's the there's a compound and it's like they describe as rose or something. I think Alora's got a bit of it in it.
I think it's got loads of it, and
Aye.
it's an oil compound that they haven't found in any other hop.
I know what you. Well, I don't know the name of it, but now that you've said that, there's almost and now I'm sort of thinking, there's that almost slight hint of like a Turkish delight rose water sort of flavour to it in the background as well. So
Yeah.
again, you get told of a descriptor, and then you're like, oh, actually, I get that loads. So anyway, let's quickly bring up the little graph thing for this. Just before we go back to baseball. Excuse me.
Is that a dipper? That's a dipper getting cracked.
Yeah,
The
dipper's getting done.
dipper is on. The dipper
It's
enters from stage left.
It's not any dipper either. It's a Verdant Omnipolo Cola.
Oh, freaking
Get out of it.
Owen.
Big boy.
Oh, mate, I can smell that from here.
So unsurprisingly, after all of the talk of peach
fruit.
rings and so on,
Yeah.
and apricot, I think it was mentioned as well. Stone fruit's way up there. Tropical and citrus were the three
A
strongest.
bit in the
I mean,
back.
as you'd expect, really. I mean, this sort of the categories for this it's quite difficult to see where like Asian fruit flavors would fit in, because you're going to kind of put that in somewhere between citrus and tropical, probably, or stone fruit. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Stone Fruit.
it basically sort of
Yeah.
has shown up
Rose.
as what you would kind of expect for a hop that you might like to put into just hazy beers, really, and Nipas and stuff.
It fits so well.
But I think, as we were saying, maybe in terms of like, yes, it worked quite well on its own, but I think if you add something else just to pull out that sort of slightly brighter citrus flavor, maybe that can make it really sing a little bit.
I worry about it, Tricky, that anything else would just absolutely dominate over the top of it.
I know what you mean. I think if you put a load of like Nelson or Mosaic over it, you would
Oh,
struggle
it'd
to
be
see what this was
disappear.
doing. I forgot about this part of the graph on the last one, but yeah, and I think it's probably fair to say aroma and flavor wise, it's not like massively
I don't think the aroma was.
punching.
The flavour's punching. It's just the aroma.
Yeah, but again,
It's
I mean,
subtle.
I'd tell everyone sort of what the hopping rate is on it, and I guess I'd score it higher than a 5.5 personally for flavor sort of intensity, but I kind of understand that when you're saying to people that it's got 270 grams of hops in, that the intensity isn't that high. Maybe.
My question is, why didn't you use the full 500 bag, Tricky?
Oh, I just want to save some for something else, of course. But yeah. So, but I really like it. I mean, again, I think it's one of the. There's a lot of new hops that come out that are
That's
a bit
good.
underwhelming these days, and I think Alora's one that I think is actually really nice, and it has a slightly more distinct
Different.
flavour
Yeah,
to it as well, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, especially if you're looking to fill gaps, that takes some oils that other hops don't have.
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
could
it's
be,
got it definitely has some unique flavours to it.
and in a
for me.
hazy, it works really well. Yeah.
Lancer said, would it fit well in low ABV pale on its own where you don't necessarily
Yes.
want punch but drinkable? I mean, I
Yes.
think that's kind of what this beer is, to be honest,
it's
because it's
3.8.
Sonoma clone, 4%, and it's not like smashing you in the face with the hops, but it's
4.2.
quite drinkable. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what this is for me. So
It's lawnmower beer all over, really, isn't it? So I think bang on
tannable.
Lance. I reckon it'd be a great recipe for a low ABV
yeah,
beer, just with drinkability, sort of bit of finesse, for sure.
Did you hear
Yeah.
the Scottish word there, boys? Tannable.
Tannable.
Tannable,
Tannable.
absolutely
Can tan
tannable.
Cool.
Like an
Right.
animal.
So
Nice.
back to the base malts. Have we got much left to talk about, or where?
Oh,
I've lost
I
my
think-
place in the notes, to
I
be
think
honest.
we were going to get on to talking about. We've obviously talked predominantly about lager malts, so we can talk a bit about ale malts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Good shout.
sort of really starting out with the classic, the OG, in Marisotta.
Yes.
So what I was sure everybody's tried to brew with Marisotta, but it is going to bring that just nice biscuit nutty richness that you know and love in every British traditional ale style. So it's great for your bitters, your stouts, your porters, your Scottish shillings, yeah.
Oh, and I've been using it I've been using low colour Maris, and I'm like blown away at how good it is as a base malt, because it's almost like a slightly toned down version of what you're describing there, but it just for what have I used?
Which particular one, Andy?
I used it in
Maltster
Allura, I'm
wise.
sure, and then
But what Maltster was it? The
crisp.
crisp. Yeah, I fell for the malt millers, smart advertising with the
buy
videos,
cheap.
and went,
Yeah.
I'll get some of that floor malted low color Marisotta from Warminster. Thank you very much.
Oh,
After
right,
you've
okay.
just said, you've all like tasted it in a side by side and gone, oh, that's the
Yeah.
one I like the best.
Yeah.
I've literally only used it in one beer so far, but and it's not really conditioned enough to try it. But
Okay.
it was like, okay, for an American pale ale, that's actually carrying a nice little bit of malt flavour, but light in colour as well. But anyway, carry on. But
Yeah.
That's
I think
that's
we're on
my
the same
preference.
track there. Yeah.
That's my
But it's-
preference for Marisotta right now.
It's like, but then, so I went and bought another sack of malt, and I've now went and I'm trying standard Marisotta, so I'm like, so I've got that in stock, but I've still got some low colour Maris, and then I got a sack of Bohemian Pils as well, and then I've still got some of that Dingerman's Pilsen to use as well. So that's my when I'm buying because I just buy 25 kilo sacks whole malt and then just malt it myself. Grind or kill. Yeah.
Mill it
Put
yourself.
it through the mouth.
Yeah.
Killed it.
You're just
I'm putting it in
shouting
the oven
words
and
into
just
the
like
void,
make
Andy.
moan. Yeah.
No, good
Try
on
to
you.
get it
No,
out of
I don't. I'm not sure whether I've ever. I think I've used Marisotto, just standard Marisotto, a little bit, but I don't think I've ever bought a whole like full sack of it. Come to think of it, because I don't think like generally I tend to like to lean towards having something that's going to be good for low colour beers, particularly hazy beers. I think your standard Marisotto is probably going to be a bit too dark for your hazy beers.
Yep.
In all honesty, I think you could use it by all means. I think you're just going to end up with probably more of a darker orange hue to the beer than you would a light yellow strawy type colour.
My thinking on was I'd bought a cask and I was like, do you know what? I just want to do
bang on, mate.
milds and all sorts of that. Like, let's go down that rabbit hole. Yeah.
Absolutely. Standard Marisol would be the way to go. So the next one we got is Golden Promise, which is interesting. Coming back to it, slightly tends to be slightly lower in colour. So that actually is a great option for probably not in its entirety as your base malt, but into hazy beers. You can add like a really lovely sweetness. It's quite clean. It's slightly fruity.
I think you've got to mention Landlord and Timmy Taylor's beers generally with Golden Promise as well, and say like just as an alternative to the sort of Marisotto or the other sort of heritage kind of varieties. In that particular beer, like with their slightly more fruity yeast.
Was it Sterry and Golden's
West Yorkshire yeast, and not heavily hopped at all, but Sterry and Goldings, I think, or Celia, I think they have in that one.
Yeah.
Obviously that malt is a big part of that beer because it's I think it's very close to being
100%.
pretty much 100% that, with maybe just a dash of something for colour, if anything at all. But it works amazingly in that. So it's not, again, you don't want to be too dogmatic with it and sort of saying like, oh, well, if you're making English bitter, you must use the Marisotto because it's the classic, whatever. Golden Promise can make some great bitters as well, and but equally, as Owen was saying, that characteristic of it having quite a light, bready, sort of very sweet flavour is fantastic in American style pale ales and hazies, particularly. I think I've used it loads in American style beers, and I think it always works beautifully.
That 4.5, 4.8 sort of beers, it just brings so much to the backbone of that beer, and then sings with hops.
Golden Promise in Tribute as well. It's a good shout from Brett
I think if you're going to use it in your hazies, I think a great shout.
Well, maybe in his version. I don't know if that's the official malt they use.
Is actually.
I thought that was a different malt that they use local.
Can't remember. No, he just said he's wrong. It's Marisol. Thanks, Brett.
Brett leading us down the garden path.
What we want to know is what's in Wherry. What's the malts in the Wherry?
I think that's got to be something a little bit more flavoursome.
Maris.
I'd go Maris.
Darker.
Full strength Maris all day.
Sugar. No, I was saying.
Cornish Gold. That's what I was thinking.
That's like an addition to the main. That's not the main base malt though, is it? I think that's like a Munich style.
But when I was saying it was like a local variety, it was Cornish
that's
Gold.
the one you're
I was
thinking
like,
of,
because I was like, I'm sure there's something different in that. Yeah. Cool.
Anywho,
which
I was saying, if you're going to use Golden Promise in a hazy, one potential good option is to split it in half and use either a very low colour pale malt or a lager malt or a pilsner malt. So you kind of get the benefits of that sweetness and the character that Golden Promise brings. You can lower the colour as well, So yeah, that's something worth experimenting with.
Yep. Defo.
Cool.
What about just standard pale malts? What's your boys' experience with just buying, or do you boys just go, because you're home brewers, you just spunk the money on good base malts, or?
I mean, I generally find if I just want a generic pale ale malt, then there's much of a muchness. You know what I mean? Having said that, I think there are certain maltsters where if you look at the specs for them, they're supposedly generic pale ale malt is actually better than other people's pale ale malt. I think so. Just to give you an example, I think the Warminster pale ale malt is actually quite dark color wise, and it's actually much more like flavorful than what you might get with some of the other sort of standard ones. So it's obviously like color is not the only thing to go by, but generally speaking, I would say that if you look at it and it's sort of like a 6-7 EBC pale ale malt, there might be a little bit more to it than something that's sort of 3 or 4 EBC, which is just going to be quite light, probably not hugely flavorful kind of thing. So
Important point.
Again, does depend on the maltster, and we've already said pale ale malt might be you don't actually know what the actual varieties that are going into that are and the way so but that's one that I've used that's been really good actually, the Warminster pale ale malt. I mean as a sort of generic one, I'm trying to think if there's any that I've used quite a lot. I don't know.
I mean, it's hard to look past Crisp, right? I think Crisp make a very consistent, good quality product. I've used both their standard pale malt and their low color pale malt. Both are, great workhorses. I bought a bag of Simpsons. I think it was Simpsons low color pale.
Yeah,
it might have just been their standard pale. I can't remember. Again, I kind of agree, Tricky. I'm not sure whether you necessarily go, oh yeah, that's like. You taste the beer and go, yeah, that pale malt is top notch. It's kind of just the blank canvas that either works or doesn't. Right? And I think you kind of notice when it doesn't, particularly if you're making like hazy beers where maybe the base malt is not necessarily, it's not a malt forward beer style. You're not expecting it to do anything other than what it needs to do, which is support the hops and bring the right colour and the right level of sugar. So I don't think necessarily I tend to get particularly excited about pale ale malt, if I'm honest. It's not the most exciting field.
No, not really. Yeah, like I said, I don't think there's a huge amount to say. I was just saying we've been talking about them not being branded by actual variety, but Muntons actually have a pale malt that is specifically Planet, if anyone's interested. But other than that,
which is a different variety.
Yeah, but otherwise, generally, it's just pale ale malt, isn't it?
So
that's what it says on the tin. It's going to make you a pale ale.
Couple of other lesser known varieties that you might come across, which is Halcyon, which is described as being crisp, dry, and quite a subtle malt. And as to whether, if you look under the hood, you might be buying a pale malt from a maltster, that the variety might be Halcyon. There's also Pearl, which is described as being balanced and slightly earthy, which you might best use in Mars or ESBs, and also Propino, which is quite neutral and clean. It's quite low colour. You might use that in modern pales or even lagers. So there's quite a few options out there. One of the things we did talk about when we were kind of planning this podcast was research as to whether maltsters ever blend varieties. And what we managed to unearth in our research was that they don't tend to do that. They tend to push out a single variety and market that, other than when they're selling to commercial breweries, but not so much commercial, macro commercial breweries, where they might start to blend stuff in order to optimize whatever that macro brewery might be looking for. But I guess that's on a slightly different scale. So that's kind of interesting in itself. So whenever you buy a malt, you know it is a single variety. So yeah, what else have we got to cover on we talked a bit about nitrogen content earlier. So why is nitrogen important in malt? Anyone know?
You asking Copilot, Owen?
I'm definitely asking Copilot right now.
Amazing. Is it not a head? It's like, I thought it was to do with foam and head sort of stuff.
I'll tell
like
you,
that.
because AI tells me everything. These days.
Is it to do with head?
Need to think.
Welcome to the Hop Edition in
just the voice.
association with ChatGPT.
Yeah. Well done, ChatGPT. So it's essentially, it helps to form protein and amino acids. So it's used for yeast health, but also head retention and flavour development. So I think it's something that is pretty crucial to a quality malt, essentially.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into any more level of science than that, other than we're going to talk about low nitrogen means more starch but less protein. Higher nitrogen typically means less starch but more protein. So yeah, kind of interesting in the fact that you've got things like crisp. What's crisp's kind of clear
choice?
Clear choice. You might actually find that is a low nitrogen malt, which means to say that there's less protein and therefore you're going to have better clarity.
Yeah.
So again, it's kind of a payoff thing going on that you're going to have higher nitrogen, therefore you get better head retention, but you might have clarity or haze problems versus a lower nitrogen malt. So again, it's kind of one of those things that you might be able to look at and decide on what it is that you're actually looking for. But there you go.
Mad,
Baggers just talks about the fact that nitrogen is a big issue for farmers.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you want to expand on that in the chat for us, Baggers, that would be good.
Baggers has got, just to highlight, he's got a great video on his channel. He interviewed a farmer about malt, and they go into crazy detail on it, and it's a great. If you want to find out more, I'd recommend you watch that video. Good
plug for the Wheatlow Brewery YouTube channel for anyone that wants to go and check out Baggers over there, who's a superhuman. He was I read the other day he started brewing at 2:30 a.m.
Yes,
because he had to start work at whatever time it was. He was like, he wanted to get a brew in. It's like that is dedication.
Is dedication.
I'd doff the cap to you, Rich.
I was speaking with Richard at the time. I'm sure I was asking questions about cask and sugar.
Yeah.
Did I need to prime it because it went so dry on the cask that it was 1.006, and I was like, wow, that's really dry. Am I going to get any residual sugars in this? And then he recommended 20 grams of sugar, so I did that. I mixed in a flask, an Erlenmeyer flask. I did a wee one of just some hot water and sugar, and I put some gelatin in it as well. Put that in the cask and then filled it up and brimmed it, sort of thing. So yeah,
good on you. So
that was in the Hop Edition. That was the Hop Edition Patreon group chat that we've got. So if you're looking for technical support as well,
technical brewing support over at
Join the Patreon and get in the Discord. That's it.
Get involved. Baggers wants to know whether you've drunk any of that cask yet, Andrew. Is it ready yet? Is it still under the stairs?
2 days. It's been 2 days under the stairs, Baggers. Calm down. It's not tapped yet.
Come on.
Do you know what? I'm tapping it. I've got Ross.
Get with the programme. You got to down it in one
Ross
night.
and Dale are coming. We've booked a date end of Feb sort of thing, so I'll have plenty of conditioning time anyway. So I'll get tapped. I'm going to put it underneath this bar here and tap it, and then pull it through the hand pull just there. So yeah.
That's going to be a wild night.
It's wild day. It's a Saturday. We're just going to early just get here and just get absolutely on it.
I'm expecting like photos come like 10 p.m.
4.2%, yeah, naked shit. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I know the drill. Very good. Look, key message there: drink responsibly, people.
Yeah, make sure it's low ABV.
Yeah, very good. So we talked about nitrogen. Actually, Richard did come back in the chat and he said basically farmers struggle with keeping the nitrogen content from getting too high and therefore not making the malting grade, and then they end up selling that animal feed, which of course I'd imagine is a significantly lower price point.
Yep.
Which is no good. Cool. So we talked a bit about. Do you want to talk a bit about maltsters? Because we've touched on this a bit, haven't we? But not fully. So we've talked about Crisp.
Yep.
And they've got some signature base malts. So they've got their Marisota. They've got Clear Choice, which I just talked a bit about. They've also got Chevalier,
which is a heritage, isn't it?
It's a heritage malt. So for anyone that doesn't know what heritage malt is, essentially is a much older malt that typically got phased out because it tended to have a lower yield, but has been brought back because whilst it has a lower yield, it might be perceived to have a better flavour profile.
Richard, I'm sure Richard was brewing. I think he did Chevalier malt. I can't remember, and it was Paddington or something, and it was like trying to get marmalade flavour sort of thing. That sort
marmalade vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I saw a bit about a marmalade beer. That sounds good actually. I'm sure I've got some Chevalier down in the garage somewhere. Not that I've actually found a use for it yet, but probably need
just
to.
Get a pin.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got to start putting stuff into cask now.
Yeah. So you're in the cask, mate.
Come on.
Well, you're on the smoke malt. You're on the smoke malt train at the minute, so you're still current.
I'm on trend, but not with the equipment. Like
Baggers is setting the cask ale trend at the minute.
Also, I'm not sure I have enough friends to get them round to drink an entire pin in a night. So
I know.
You know.
Well, we're just a bit far away. That's the issue.
Yeah, you are. Unfortunately, yeah. You know,
you got plenty of friends who'd happily drink it, mate. They're just not like local to you.
I just don't have enough hard drinking friends. That's probably not true actually. I've got quite a few of those, but yeah. So we also got Fawcett's. So we've talked about Golden Promise a lot. That's actually
never bought any
by Fawcett's. Are they Scotland? Fawcett's in Scotland?
Thomas Fawcett?
No, they're Yorkshire.
English?
No. But Golden Promise is predominantly grown in Scotland, isn't it?
It's one of the ones. Yeah, possibly, but it's like Simpsons is an English company.
Interesting. Simpsons also do Golden Promise, and best pale ale malt. We talked about Weirmann being a classic German malt. So
I think that's a group favourite.
Group favourite, best malts.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I've ever used any best malts.
Chris was using best malts. He was raving about their Pilsner malt, saying how it was. Yeah, because he was saying how it was cheaper than the Weirmann, but he was like, it's not as good, but it is like just on the, it is good sort of thing. You know what I mean? So if you are looking for a sack of cheaper 25 kilo sack of Pilsner malt, Best Malts could be a shout.
Yeah, for sure. And they also do a malt called Heidelberg, or Heidelberg, which interesting. I had a beer from. Who's the mate that we had on the podcast that makes big cans of beer?
No, you've lost me because I was thinking it was going to be the little short bottles.
No, it was the dude that made the collab with the craft beer company, Zip Off Shorts, with Baron.
Oh
It
yeah,
was Baron.
Jack.
I had a Baron beer, and I'm pretty sure that he'd used Heidelberg.
From Best Malts.
As the base malt. And that was obviously in like a double IPA or something. So that was quite interesting, obviously, sort of using a lager malt or a Pilsner malt for a...
I'm going to wait to go see if I can buy it. Can you actually buy Heidelberg malt in the UK?
Oh, for sure, you can definitely buy it. And then, of course, you got your Baird's. Has anyone ever used Baird's malt? Triggy?
I don't know if I've
You ever used it?
Possibly, but it doesn't. Not anything that sticks in the memory as to what it was like or not. So
I know for
Oh,
certain
yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Oh no, Malt Miller. Jeez. Serious?
And then there's a couple of US maltsters, Ra and Great Western. We haven't talked about Six Row either.
and quick one. Just the Malt Miller sell Best Malts Heidelberg. Best
Do they?
Heidelberg. So if you
Very
want to
good.
try it, there it is. It's actually on the Malt Miller.
good
Get
shout.
involved.
Wow.
Get involved. Very good. I think there were a few. There was at least one couple of suggestions from Lance Castleford.
Castleford Malts.
Not one I'd heard of.
The other one in the UK is Paul's Malts. Have you seen that? And it's all kind of branded up with the
Oh, yeah.
different sort of
Yeah, that's,
nautical or whatever sort of thing. It's another one. Obviously, I used to mostly buy Crafty Maltsters because it was local. If I was driving up, then I could get it really quite cheap actually if I picked it up. So I would get like 3 or 4 sacks, and then I think one time I went up and I get Dell a sack and myself a couple of sacks sort of thing because it was passing. But Crafty's gone now, so.
Oh, he said Fawcett's is based in Castleford.
Based in Castleford. Yeah.
Right, okay.
After having just
Fawcett's.
Googled that, I just figured out that.
Did I say
that was-
Yorkshire?
That was a location.
Yorkshire.
But when I was asking the question about whether they were based in Scotland,
No,
Lance corrected
definitely
me.
not.
Appreciate that, mate. So
Because I think Crisp have got Malton in Scotland, I'm sure, but not that they're I think they're a UK company, but they do. Because they do like supply like all the breweries up here. I'm sure Terence and that get all their malt from Crisp.
Wow.
Oh, tricky! That beer was freaking amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
It was
Glad you
very,
enjoyed it, sir.
Very
mine's
crushable.
long gone.
Yeah,
But it was
I was
very
later
good,
to the
Tricky.
party,
Very
but
nice.
yeah, it was good.
Both of those beers were excellent.
Um,
You're absolutely nailing those lagers, mate.
Thank you. Do we have anything else that we need to talk about with malts, base malts specifically?
What's your favourite?
Yeah, what's our favourite? I think we've talked a bit about that. I want to go back to Golden Promise. I want to get back on the Golden Promise train.
Is that your favourite?
It's not my favourite.
As your
Well,
favourite,
maybe it
or
is
just
my
to talk
favourite.
about it more? What? I mean, you. I think you have to have 2 favourites, don't you? You have to have a favourite lager malt, and you have to have a favourite ale.
Oh
malt.
well, I mean, there's an
Obviously,
obvious
I mean,
favourite lager.
there's no point even doing the lager one because we're all going to say the same thing. So let's just skip to the ale malt.
I'm going to be cat amongst the pigeons.
No
here.
way.
And
What's
I'm gonna,
How dare you? Don't-
Yeah, I know. I'm actually going
I'm muting Owen.
The Warminster Utopian
Have you used that?
malt. I've used that. I think
Crap.
that is very nearly up there with Vireman Floor Malt Bohemian Pilsner.
Ah, so just buy Floor
Because I
malted
think
wine.
it's floor malted, and it's significantly cheaper.
Okay.
But I do think it's still not quite.
Honey.
It's not quite up there.
I've not tried it, so I can't give a
I think it's good.
valid opinion on it. But I've seen it and thought, I fancy giving that a go. To be fair,
It's not my favourite, but when you look at.
have you guys
from
tried Hannah Malt, the crisp
No.
Hannah Malt?
No, I don't think
Yeah.
I have.
I mean, I got a bag of it when it was on sale cheap. I mean, I don't want to draw too many conclusions because I've only made a couple of beers with it, but it's not. I mean, it's definitely not up there with floor malted Bohemian for me.
Oh god.
I don't. Yeah, I don't want to say like anything disparaging about it. But I'm not sure if it's working for me so far. But I feel like I need to try it out a bit more, and as I said, I was thinking about doing an all English like lager, and I would use that as the sort of English malt in it.
Is it not Czech malt though? It's in it. No.
Well, it's a Czech variety, but it's grown in England, so it's
Oh,
English
is it?
once
Right, okay.
becomes there. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably why it's shit.
Yeah.
No, no one's saying shit.
It's not shit. It's not shit. I'm not gonna say that.
It's
I'm not
just
gonna say
once
that.
you go Bohemian, it's hard to.
Well,
go
this
back
is the
on.
thing. It's kind of like you're comparing it to that, and I'm just going, yeah, but it's not
Yeah.
flour malted Bohemian.
So what about pale malt?
It's a toss up between Golden Promise and Low Colour Maris, I think, for me.
Yeah, mine's warmants to floor malted low colour Marisata because I like as many adjectives in.
I've literally only used that malt once, and the beer's not even properly ready yet. But I think it's really good. But I'd probably have to go Golden Promise just as the one that I've probably used the most and had like,
Great results.
consistently. Like I love the beer that I've made with that. So
Great
Yep.
choices.
yeah, I think it would be Golden Promise for me as well at the moment, but possibly soon to change for me. So
Amazing.
It's been a few years since I've used Golden Promise, to be fair. So I'd probably be Low Colour Maris at the minute.
yeah, I think I'm the same actually. I've probably used a lot of generic low color
Oh, try
pale
to.
ale or Marisota since. So
There you go. Mav, Hoddy says
Hoddy's
Golden Promise for the
Hoddy's on the
win.
GP.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Holly's a big fan of Golden Promise for sure.
Sweet.
Why should we call that episode 131 at the 2 hour and 7 minute mark?
Yeah, man, because I'm out of beer, so I need to go and get another beer. So let's wrap it.
Nice.
You can go 10
listen,
afters.
I'm going to set up a after party chat. So give me 2 minutes to do that whilst you guys chat.
Yeah,
And
so
I'll stick that in the.
just an update for our listeners for the next few episodes. We're gonna have a planning meeting next Wednesday to try and get an idea of what we want to do. We've got some dates we've put in. we're trying to just sort out
on
dates
that
at the
point,
minute.
suggestions for topics and also guests.
Yep.
Throw them in the chat, guys, because that will help us. So
Yeah,
or
I've got a lead
tell
on
us in the
one.
afters.
I need
Yeah.
to sort out our next guest. I do have someone that says they'll come on.
Nice.
So that's good. I just need to get a date, and
It's
we
Moon-
need
it's
to
Moon Mate
set
Derek.
down dates. What?
It's my
Dell.
mate Derek.
It's mate Dell.
We're gonna do Dell on the.
We're gonna
Dell
talk.
on
We're
the
gonna
show.
talk about bucket fermenting and kit and bottle for bottle conditioning. Dell's a freaking expert at bottle conditioning. Jeez, boy, he never bothered going into kegging, and he's like literally got the. If you want to know how many grams of sugar and all that to get the perfect carbonation in your bottle conditioning, speak to Dell. But yeah, no. So we just need to we need to pull up together and get a plan together for this year coming. But I think we're all super excited.
Oh, there's
about
plenty. There's plenty in the workings. There's plenty of irons
Yeah,
in the
we've
fire,
got
so,
loads of topics.
Yeah, one of the things that we do need to get from. We've had Damien from Emperors. Yeah. Be happy to have Damien back and chat to him a bit more.
We
Especially
said
if he
there's
sends
some
us
more meals.
beer.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was
I
insane.
think did I not have COVID though? I think I had COVID during that episode, and it kind of sucked.
Tricky had brewed the Emperor's clone.
Yeah, I sent you guys
he
the
sent us a
it's
clone.
bounty
from
hunter.
Brewdy.
I
Yeah,
really enjoyed that.
And it was
actually.
just
That was very
fucking
good.
insane.
messy by the end of that. It's like,
That was good.
And then I brewed
Right,
mine
well,
off the back of it. So yeah.
Listen, the after party chat is in, or the link is in the chat. So come join us for the after
Some
party.
beers.
If you're new around here and you've been following along live, just jump in. Like it's just a free for all community chat, just to talk about beer and have a laugh and
yeah, don't be shy.
and carry the party
Give
on.
us a try.
I think what Andy was probably getting at was we don't have the next
No.
podcast date
It's not nailed.
in pen, so we're gonna have to work through that. So keep an eye on our socials. In the meantime, if you want to sort of engage with us, just like let us know what your favourite pale ale malt is, lager malt, what your favourite base malts are. Chuck it on the socials, Facebook page, stick it wherever. Instagram, we're on there as well,
Facebook,
and let's have a fun conversation. If you want to join as a Patreon, check us out on Patreon. There's a thriving community. We've got a Discord channel where it's a fun, active conversation on a daily basis. Actually,
Yeah, it's good.
all
Actually,
about brewing, and it's a really nice. It doesn't even need to be moderated environment. There's no trolling. There's no whatever, which is amazing. So that's my favourite part of it. It's just really supportive.
low
and
effort.
very fun. You know, with a little bit of a dirty sort of comedy twist.
Yeah, it's good.
So you know, if you're easily
Good
offended,
bunch.
then maybe it's not for you. But
Yeah.
good. All right, guys, it's been fun.
Cool.
Over and out.
Adios. See you soon.
Episode 131
Bye.
in the bag. Let's go.
Let's go.